to the German Titans with our guest today, which is Alex. And my question to Mo is, again, why is Alex a Titan?
Very, very important for the audience to know. Well, he's famous, he's smart, he's intelligent, he's humble, he's a friend. This is very important. And for me personally, he was all the time, although that his schedule is really packed, approachable for me and my network and the students, and he was always there. Why a Titan? Of course, a success story that he's going to speak about, and we are going to understand more about his personality, his profession, what he's doing, and I believe the audience will understand why Alex is a Titan. So, Alex.
Welcome.
Well, thanks for having me, and thanks for the great
introduction. It's a pleasure to have you.
We can end it here. It was so good.
So who is Alex?
Who's Alex? Well, depends on who you ask, probably. In this context here, I believe an entrepreneur, a keynote speaker, sometimes a lecturer for Macromedia, if time is making it possible. And first of all, a marketer. But I would say like a purebred entrepreneur.
And personally?
Personally, a friend, a lover, a traveler, be passionate about the things I care, and hopefully find enough time to experience it in the future too.
Oh, wow. Thanks for the answer. I can already tell,
yes.
The first two guests from Mo's circle of friends. And they're very good people, like you said.
I am the only exception. I'm the only so
you already told us.
Yeah. So this is everyone is wondering, Alex. So of course I know you since years. Maybe I asked you already this question or not? We know already who's Alex, especially the friend part, and of course the traveler, the social media guru, and. But who's Khan? Alex,
Khan?
Yes. This is
and you pronounced it properly. Yeah, Khan. So it's my Iranian background, of course. The full name would be Khan Buluki.
Mm-hmm.
But if I would ask you how to pronounce that and to spell it, it's going to be
She will take 2 days.
Khan Buluki. How would you spell it? So I shortened it. And it's quite a fun story, because in my passport I also have Khan instead of Khan Buluki. So I can actually name myself Alex Khan. It's my Iranian background in short. So that's the Khan part. And Khan, as you know, from Genghis Khan, Aga Khan, is like a noble title, which we don't know here in Germany. Yeah. But in Iranian landscape, some people still know it.
Okay. So I mean, me and Nana, we were doing some preparation, and it's amazing how you are all over the place. You are everywhere, and you are all over social media. And how did it start?
Maybe you can tell us about your career.
The true story, I don't know if I've ever told it before, is it's actually a person, but because you started with my dad and my origin and so on. When I was 6-7 years old, my dad came to me and said, like, sit down, I have to talk to you. And you can imagine, if your dad, big Iranian guy, comes to you with 6 years old, you think like, oh God, what did I do wrong? And he said, like, well, if you came to this world, everybody was smiling and you were crying. Live your life like this, that when you leave this earth again, you're gonna be the one that smiles, but everyone is worrying about you. And of course, as a 6-year-old, you don't know what to do. And I asked, like, so how can I do that? And he said, like, just make people happy. They will kind of return the favor. So I started 10 years later, my first business, which was like a website I coded as a school person, and sold CDs over the internet. And from that I could understand that the internet is something where people actually spend money. So that's how I started with the internet. And then in 2005, social media came up, 2004, 2005. And I was in university, I studied at LMU. And besides that, I was modeling. You probably know it from LMU. There's a similarity here. And just to finance my studies. And there was a platform, it was called Attractive People. It was one of the first social networks we had. And I thought like, okay, attractive people, models, maybe I can promote them to an agency, make money out of it. So I became a member, and one of the co-founders said like, well, I want to go more in this direction, maybe you want to become my partner. And that's how I started with social media back in 2005. There was no terms like social media, I didn't know what to do. But over the past years, I sticked with it until now. So at the beginning, I guess I was lucky about social media, that I was one of the first ones who used it, and I built my reputation from there.
So you have an agency which is specialized on social media, yeah? So two things. How would you draw a successful career in social media for a new starter in this field? And the second, only an agency which is focused on social media. This is courageous. Yeah? How do you do it, and how everyone is talking in Munich about Alex Khan fashion, Alex Khan automotive, Alex Khan...
all the industries.
Everywhere.
I wanted to know
Everywhere.
How you
Everywhere.
do it.
How is this possible?
The main question is personal branding. I believe no matter who you are, you have a story. I believe everyone in this world has a story worth telling. Now the question becomes, what's your medium in how you can tell it? Maybe you're good looking, maybe you're really smart, maybe you have a passion about fishes, or you have a passion about traveling. So I would start with this, asking myself like what I'm really passionate about, and start talking about it. Don't fake it till you make it, just document the process. A good friend of mine, he starts this again. Greetings go out to Max Wittrock. He founded my Muesli, and now he started something new. And he right now again starts documenting his process about his first warehouse, his first co-founder, and so on. People love stories. So I guess the first step in the right direction to become a personal brand is find your true passion and start talking about it.
And when it comes to the medium, I just thought about it when you said that, because Marshall McLuhan says the medium is the message, or massage, however we want. And I can tell from my experience that it's true, because you have such different audiences, and obviously you can upload pictures or videos on the platforms, but then when you want to make a brand out of yourself, you have to know how to use these platforms. So is there any advice that you can give?
A lot, of course. I mean, first of all, you have to start. I believe the biggest problem for people is ego and self-awareness. So I guess the first thing is download the app, start talking in video form. That would be the best, because everything goes in this direction. We can talk about the algorithms later, so which works on what platform, but it starts with video. If that's not possible, take a picture. If that's not possible, start with a text. And depending on where you're good at, I would never go in the direction if I don't like to be in front of the camera, to recommend someone to be in front of the camera. Maybe you're better at writing. Maybe you're good at talking, and a podcast is the right thing to do. So it starts with self-awareness, and give it a try. And if you don't know, then maybe ask your close friends, your family, your colleagues, what they believe you're good at.
Yeah, and speaking about ego, I mean, the biggest problem is, I guess, that people are afraid to fail. And this is something that we have in our culture as well a lot, that people are not even allowed to fail. Like, you have to be the perfect person with the perfect CV. And especially when you start something like social media, then you can't be experienced, right?
Of course not.
You just trial and error. And then when you have a platform, and for me, this is a personal experience, and the audience, like the people that follow you, they know you very well, let's say from school or back in the days
That's how
from
you
at
start.
home. Then they also have to get to know you from a different perspective, right?
Sure.
So this is some discrepancy, and I felt like I was struggling with this most. I wasn't perfect in the beginning, so I just had to
And you will
fail.
never be.
Yes,
And that's a
I
fact.
know. I know.
Yeah. But I mean, by the end of the day, and you are very good in this, Alex is very good at this, and then you said, okay, just start. Yeah, someone had the ability to start without knowing, and someone is saying, no, this is not mine. For example, if I see Alex, he's as well a star in public speaking, and this is something which is completely different from social media. Yeah? So if I tell you, how did you discover this? Because you are holding talks more or less from the United States to countries in Asia, how you shifted this passion as well, and you became very successful in it?
I hated it. To be honest, at the beginning, I really hated it. it started, first of all, if you take me as an example, I was creating businesses. I was founding and building businesses for more than 10 years before I opened my mouth for the very first time in public. So that was an advantage. And I started with Periscope on day one. Periscope was the first live streaming service. Before Instagram Live, Facebook Live, there was Periscope. It grew very quickly. And I started on day one by accident because of an email of a friend of mine. And I wasn't in front of the camera. I was seeing myself more like a director at the beginning. And after a couple of weeks, I started, and you can really imagine myself being in front of this smartphone, looking at the red button to start the stream, and I couldn't. I was so afraid of the people. I was so afraid of being rejected. I was so afraid of not knowing what to say, especially not in my home tongue, not in my home language. I had to do it in English, which was another problem because it was a US company. My whole audience was from the US. And then I started using it, and it came because it was live streaming. It was very authentic. I couldn't prepare myself really. I was answering questions. I was talking about my entrepreneurial journey in the past. I was talking about marketing because that was the only thing I was really good at that time. And I grew very quickly. So I was in the first 20 accounts from day one. So everyone who downloaded the app saw my face out of 19 alternatives. And some followed me. So I grew 2,000-3,000 followers per day. So I grew that audience to 250,000 within a year. And so it started with public speaking. I never wanted to be in public to speak to anyone. I actually didn't want to be an influencer and anything like that. And my first, and I remember it so well, my first speaking engagement was in in California for Periscope Community Summit. I agreed to it because I was one of their stars. And before me, there was Grant Cardone. I don't know if you know Grant Cardone. He's like a very big influencer, millions of followers. He came with a private jet. I flew in economy class from Munich to San Francisco. He spoke, and it was like, I believe, like 1,000 people in a room. An amazing speech, standing ovation. It was my very first keynote on that day. And fortunately, it went well. But you can imagine I was so afraid. And I took it from there. Because it went well, other conferences came to me, do you want to tell your success story in this country? And that's how I started. And I believe like my first 50 to 100 keynotes, I was still very afraid. So it's, and still I am here with you.
Yeah, I wanted to say, does it ever go away? I'm not sure.
No, and it's good like this because it shows you care. I believe the moment that I see myself as a star and I don't have to be afraid anymore and it doesn't matter what I'm talking about, that's the moment when it goes wrong. So I believe it's a good thing.
Yeah, it makes sense. For sure.
Not overwhelm yourself and be panicked, but you have to consider that you are doing something which is important. Alex, you are Alex Khan. Your friend is Muhammad Badr, Nanette Wilberg, and of course, in these times of the society, you have a little bit of a turbulence. You have voices right and left that may be considered inadequate against a diversity, against having a diversified society. Germany is a great nation which gives opportunity to everyone, and I continue to do this because I witnessed it personally. What do you say as a social media and as a public speaker, as an influencer? What do you say to these voices and how everyone can contribute against what we hear from time to time, from your opinion?
The problem is marketing is fear, and a lot of media is using that to gain attention. Attention, first of all, became a currency, probably the most valuable currency that we have. And I'm a big fan of optimism. From my point of view, you already won the lottery of genes by becoming a human being. I don't want to be an ant or a fish or something like that. You already, and somebody actually did a calculation around it. The chance to become a human being is 400 trillion to 1. If you compare that, it's like a drop in the ocean. So you already won that. That's a good thing. Either you have 2 hands, 1 hand, you are a human being. That's already a good thing. And that's where I like to start. And I know that many people give a punchline and say like, yeah, but my dad was an alcoholic and I'm coming from a poor family.
Blaming something.
And so on, yeah. It's true, and it's a good statement, yeah, and I have total empathy around it. But if you know one person whose father was an alcoholic, or just have one hand, who made it, and we've made it, I'm not thinking about financial success, I'm thinking about becoming happy, then you can do it too. It's the variable, you know, it's not a constant. So that's the first thought I have around it. And second is for those people who have the power, who have the empathy, who have the audience, just make positivity louder. I believe that's the answer. I don't believe we should be defensive and be still and not allowed to talk. I believe those people who have a positive message should become louder.
Yeah, and like you said, a huge part of it is becoming self-aware.
Yeah.
And it's not that easy, right? You kind of have to face these fears and you have to face your darkest shadows. Is there something that you could tell our audience or give advice, or maybe from your own experience, how to become more self-aware?
You know, somebody asked me in another past podcast if there's one thing I would love to teach people, what would be the one thing? It would be self-awareness.
Yeah.
I believe that's the best. If you know what you can and if you can't, many people, they say that saying by Steve Jobs, like, follow your passion. I have a couple of problems with follow your passion. First of all, usually people who say follow your passion have already made it. They are rich and they have everything behind them. Then they say follow your passion. I believe a better question is, which also plays around to your question, what are you good at? That should be the main question, because if you follow your passion, first of all, passions change. You might be really passionate about something now, you might be not in 10 years. Second, it's very me-centered. And we are living in a meritocracy, means like your output to society is the way how you get it from society back, like it's like karma. And the third thing is, only because you're passionate about it doesn't mean that you're good at it. Just think about the first episode of Germany's Next, what's called Deutschland sucht den Superstar, like The Voice, these kind of things. Yeah. These people are really passionate about singing, but they can't sing, so it won't work. So that would be my first thing. Ask yourself what you're really good at. And if you don't know it, as I said before, ask your parents, ask your friends, think about what you were really passionate about as a kid. Maybe that's something you hold on to. I mean, we're living in a world where somebody who loves to play games, I remember my mom told me, you won't be able, because I was playing games a lot as a kid, you won't be able to speak 2 sentences. And fortunately I can, at least some of them. And now you can make $1 million by playing games on Twitch. It's crazy.
Yeah.
There are people who are passionate about fashion, they really know a lot about it, and they can make $500,000, 100,000 by talking about it on Instagram. So that's great.
Yeah, and I believe passion is also learned at a certain point. So when you know what you're good at and you practice it and then you become better, it kind of, you know, is an ongoing improvement, and then you become confident, and then you can, in the best case, teach others or help others to become this confident as well, because that's what I believe self-awareness does. It gives you confidence. Actually, in German again, it's Selbstbewusstsein. So it's awareness actually, and I think that's the key. So
correct. But how to arrive at this awareness, this is the most important thing. Yeah? And you are aware only when you are trying. You believe in yourself, and then you are trying things. You know? Because if someone is looking outside the picture and said, okay, I want to be Alex Khan. Yeah, so you don't know what Alex Khan went through, difficult times 100%. And failing times, in order to be what you are, and trying things that did not work. And this is something maybe you can elaborate further, because it is not a milestone. You have to do 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to simply do 1 and then fail, and then 2, and then try again and try again and try again. So is failing in your dictionary? It's
so important, and yes, it is in my dictionary. I mean, I failed so many times in so many things. And first of all, I want to follow up on what you just said. You want to be like somebody else. You will always be the number 1 version of yourself. You will never be the number 1 version of Kim Kardashian or Pamela Reif. It won't work. you have a different skill set, but you can be the number one version of yourself. And I believe to compete with yourself, there's a very good book about, it starts with Why from Simon Sinek. And he described in the book in one chapter that there's one runner, he always take part in the New York Marathon. And he's one of the worst. But he comes back every day, every year. And so some of the more successful runners, they run back to run with him because he's so popular already. And he was asked once, like, why do you do this? I mean, you will never win it. And he said, like, I'm not comparing myself with others. I'm just comparing myself, how good was I last year? And that's a good thing. Just compare yourself with yourself and just try to become a little better version of yourself each and every single day. And you will be stunned how far you're gonna be in a couple of months or years. We totally underestimate where we could be in 5 years, and we totally overestimate where we are in 1 week or two.
Yes,
Yeah,
of course.
interesting.
Yeah. And that's a great book. I highly recommend it to our audience.
Yeah.
Have you read the last one? It's about friendship. It's really good. It's
Yeah,
really
I always
good.
get all the books that
Yeah.
Mo reads,
Yeah.
so we're very passionate
it's a really
about
big
it.
book.
When it comes to aspiring people, I think it's still something that you do a lot. So you inspire and people want to be like you maybe, but
That's a beautiful compliment, thank you.
you're welcome. And I think that's a good thing though. I mean, you need role models and you need to see people in the media that you can resonate with, right? So I think that's very, very important. And on the other side, also, like you said, this way of becoming this person that you are is what you're teaching people. So I wonder, what are you telling people? Like, where's the bridge between being this aspiring person and then giving it back in a way that people can actually implement it in their own lives?
And I need to add on this regarding about on what Nana said, role modeling. And for example, I'm very, very, very keen every single year to read what the super beautiful messages, and maybe the first time that I'm telling you this, that you are telling to your mom in the Mother's Days. It is simply beautiful. Yeah? So we're talking about, you are a role model, or who are your role models? And of course the effect of family, the influence of friends, and what do you think in this regard?
A couple of thoughts. First of all, about what you said, being aspiring or inspiring. I heard like a quote from Tony Robbins. He says, like, the sense of living is giving. And I believe that to be true. And about my role models, I can't tell you on slides, but I am 100% sure that I'm able to be on stage because of my mom, because of the love and the certainty she instilled when I was a kid. Like, always thinking of empathy. I remember like one scene when I was like 11 years old. I remember I was holding up the door for an old lady, and she celebrated it as I won the Nobel Peace Prize. It's still in my head.
Values, yes.
Very valuable. You can do whatever you want, but be a good person. It's the same thing that my dad said when I was 6 years old, make people happy. I believe it's such a strong foundation if you have the luck to have great parents. And if you don't, then find role models, people who are good. The only thing, and I'm a big, big fan of Steve Jobs, the only thing I don't like is the narrative that he did it on the shoulders of others. He said, you can do more, and always was dissatisfied. And my inspiration is, I talked about this like 2 weeks ago with a friend of mine. He said, like, have you thought about long term? And I said, I'm so macro, you can't imagine. I'm thinking what should be on my graveyard. And what should be on my graveyard is, he gave more than he took. That's the thing I'm inspired to myself. And I believe if just one of a few of us who had the luck as a kid to have a good childhood, share this with others and become the protection shield. And the one thing that motivates me, that maybe some people, like you said, like, I want to be like him. I would love that once I'm big enough that people take me as a role model, that they try to reverse engineer what I have done, And the problem I have with Steve Jobs is they reverse engineered and they think I have to take as much from people as possible. I want to do the reverse. I want to be, you can be successful and you can be a good human being. Both fits together. That's what inspires me to do.
Yeah, we have some similarities. Like you said, you're a model as well and an entrepreneur, and also a lecturer. You have been. How are you? You told me that you're implementing this now in your workshops.
Yeah.
Can you give us some insights or what you're doing right now?
I think it's deeply instilled in my DNA to teach people. I don't know if it's from my dad, who of course every night he read something from a book and told me stories, and I love storytelling. But what I love to do is teach people. It can be as a lecturer at Macromedia. It can be in a workshop. I read an article from Steve Jobs at the beginning where how he started with computers. And there was an article about the most efficient animal in the world. This animal who takes less energy to go from A to B. And it seems to be the condor.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And a human being is not really efficient. But then somebody had the idea to take a human being on a bicycle. And a human being on a bicycle is much more efficient than the condor. What I mean by that is the biggest investment or the best investment is an investment in yourself. If you give people the right tools, they will succeed and they will excel. And that's what my passion is, to give people the right tools, to learn them the right things that they can really excel and fulfill their dreams.
Yeah, that's what we do, right? We try to teach skills. I always say we obviously want to give them knowledge in a certain area, but then you don't know what their job's going to be like in like 2 or 3 years. And the only thing that you can really strengthen is their self-confidence, their way of using certain tools like AI, we talked about this before, but also the people that they become in teams or how they interact with others in any kind of way. And I think that's something that you can learn also just by doing it.
Only by doing it.
Yeah, by getting out there.
This is finding your passion, as Alex underlined, and you as well, Nana. You have to try. And if you find yourself good in giving something, it is a talent, yeah. So I am different than you, than Tom, than Alex, than. You can say, okay, Mo Badr is super good in teaching, and then Mo Badr is super good in strategy. Mo Badr is super bad in drawing, yeah. So by the end of the day, you have to find this passion, and if you find it, you have to pass it to others. You cannot keep it for yourself.
100%.
From the other side, which it's a side that I want to return to, your private part, because your public part, everyone knows about it, and this we speak about this all the time. About of course, I'm very very happy that and glad to feel this particular relationship with your family, father and mother. Yeah. So what do you say, for example, to says that okay, I'm with the wrong person, but this is the only thing that I have in mind.
One's relationship advice.
Yeah,
it's the second time he's asking this.
Yeah, because it is important. Yeah, the partnerships are important, and I all the time say it. Yeah, and this is my strong message. Better being alone than with the wrong person. Yeah, and I want to have this result, and I want to know how you can have this kind of partnerships leading to this healthy, let's say, Alex Khan, in a relationship which should be like this with parents.
Okay.
Yeah. So how is this structured? And what is your advice? Yes.
I want to add something to it because I didn't add it last time. Having the wrong person and being the wrong person. I just want to put this into the conversation.
Being and having, yes. Because of time issues, because I don't want to be alone, because societal pressures, because...
I believe it's very complex, this whole topic. You should try to understand why you do the things you do. Do you do it just to make your mom and your dad proud? It's not gonna be long lasting. You should live your own life. And too many parents want something for their kids that they didn't have without asking the kids if they wanted to. And that's a very big parenting problem. And sometimes you need to also close relationships and say, I don't want you in my life anymore. It's a hard conversation, but at least I believe you can do everything. But sometimes you have to go through a struggle. If your dad or your mom pays for everything you have, then it's very hard to say, I'm not going to university, I'm not doing that job, I'm not doing this and that. Maybe you have to quit, and maybe you have to quit something else and live a life with less money, but be fulfilled. And that's always a conversation worthwhile. But we could go in so many directions with this. It's so complex. I believe some people need to have help, to be honest. Search for help. It's also something in our culture. People don't like to go to therapists and so on. Some people should have help.
Taboo. You don't have to. Then people will think you're crazy.
Yeah,
no,
failing again, right?
It's failing. I believe failing culture is a very big issue. It's totally different in the US. When I lived in the US, you could fail 5 times. If you stand up 6, people cheer for you. If you fail up here 5 times, you have a problem. So that's another thing. But yeah, I believe you should really ask yourself, who would be with you when you're down, when you won't have all these things, and look for people. Too many people try to impress people they don't like. Why? Why they do that? Instead of just be yourself. And I know it's easier when you have a couple of things achieved, but you should start at some point and take it from there.
That's absolutely important.
I agree.
Yeah.
But what about the question? Finding the right partner, who needs to know? No, I want to know.
Finding the right partner. So you want to know, so he can answer you.
I'm just
know
curious. I think I found the right partner, so I'm just curious what your answer is.
Well, finding the right partner, it's a similar thing, and it's much connected to your parents, to be honest.
Yes.
It can't be disconnected. I'm happy I've also found the right partner, so that makes me happy, of course, every single day, but it was a long, long journey. So I don't think, and it's funny though, because when I started with Periscope, I gave relationship advice for a couple of weeks. It was my first topic before I switched to marketing.
The blind leading the blind.
Now we know how we can do it.
And then actually one person asked, like, are you even in a relationship that you give all this relationship advice? And it's like,
nope.
Okay, she got a point, right? So then I switched to marketing, because I love to stay in my lane. You can ask me anything about marketing and I'm very happy to answer it. If you ask me about relationship advice, I don't think that I'm the best person to talk to, although I'm in a happy relationship. For many reasons, there are other experts you should interview around it. I believe there is a spark that you feel when you're with the right person, and that's a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, because as I mentioned before, what is impressing, I personally wait for these lovely messages that you are sending. Again, I invite all the audience to follow Alex Khan and see on the Mother's Day these beautiful messages. And I do the same. So, and I want everyone to do the same. And this is a result of a healthy relationship. And a healthy relationship is a result of a healthy partnership. So, and this is healthy families. This is healthy members in the society. And really, we have to open our eyes on it, because this is the root and the source of everything. So that's why, for me, I always underline it. It starts by partnership, and that's why Nanas all the time are saying, why you do so? We had a discussion before with a super expert financial planner, and I was asking him, in financial decisions, do you give as well, opinions if one of the partners are really destroying the wealth of the complete family? This is very important, and he gave me some answers. Maybe you can watch the episode of Direct Pride Samhita. And this is very important as well to know your perspective in this.
And when it comes to entrepreneurship and marketing, like you said, I have a million questions because I'm founding as well.
We will have free advices.
I know, I would have free advice. No, really, but I think this is such an important topic, but also, like you said before, you have the personal brand and you have your company as a brand. You kind of have to combine both. You have to use the right media for the right things, let's say, and build everything. And I have a very personal question for my brand, which I wanted to ask
Sure.
you. And it's because social media right now has this authenticity thing of being, you know, not perfect. And the content is real. Like you just take the camera and make a video, and it's just, you know, everyday life and not, huge studio and stuff. And I want to have a premium brand. So I'm like in this constant fight with myself. One side is the personal branding, but the other one is how do I find the bridge between being premium and still being authentic and just me, and not, you know, not making it look really, really nice and better than others, because that's marketing as well. You want to give this feeling of a lifestyle that is kind of, you know, premium. You know what I mean?
And reframing, I just want to add here as well, Alex, what is your advice? Because people sometimes are saying, okay, I'm a startup, Instagram is not marketing, for example. I'm giving you, maybe you already heard this, yeah? But when I look, for example, Nanette now is in the phase of, the final phase of launching everything, yeah? And you are advising, if I look to the website of your agency, which is as well branded Alex Khan, can be whatsoever, but it's Alex Khan. I see big names, and people are saying, really, these big names are using these platforms.
I'm fascinated by it.
And this is what we have to understand. You mentioned now it is a product placement, My Muesli, which is an incredible success stories. You introduced me to many other names as well that are super successful, but nevertheless. How you let people understand, and what is the status quo of this, let's say, pattern of marketing using social media?
Yeah, there are two different questions. Let's go one by one and start with yours, because it's the overall picture about social media. I'm not really romanticizing social media. For me, it's just the current state of the internet. How we communicate is with social media. It's about attention. If you want to sell any product and service, if it's premium, not premium, first of all, you need to have my attention. Attention is how politicians work. Attention is how religion work. Attention is how society works. And this little device called a smartphone is probably the device of the century, at least so far. And now we should ask ourselves, if this is the device, how can we be on this device? What are people using on that device? And they're using games, they're watching videos, and they're using social media. That's why we have this conversation around social media, and that's why all the brands are going in the direction of social media. Traditional media is, and that's one side point I want to make, there's a huge confusion in the market when we compare traditional media with social media, because nobody in the world scrolls like this. Everybody who's scrolling on social media is looking at the screen. Means if Facebook, Instagram, TikTok tells you 1,245 people saw it, that's the case. Let's compare with traditional media. TV is built on top-up boxes, which are all over Germany, and they correlate everything. Radio is built on surveys. Newspapers are built on how many they print. And billboards, how many pass by. But we are confused by potential reach with actual reach. On social media, we have actual reach. On traditional media, we have potential reach. There might be 1 million people watching Germany's Next Top Model, but do 1 million people watch the ad in between? I don't think so. Right? So that's the first thing we have to understand. And still a lot of brands spend billions, in my case, on overpriced attention. I'm not saying that it doesn't work. It's just overpriced because you don't reach it because it's potential reach. Versus underpriced attention. For me, social media is underpriced attention. So that's at first why these big brands are using social media. Now let's go to your question about premium versus not premium brands.
Normal.
Almost like letting it fall to the ground, picking it up again, looking just not, not even makeup or something, you know what I mean?
We are fed up with marketing. There are hundreds of thousands of messages every month we receive. I read that we get 60 to 70,000 thoughts in our mind every single day. And by the way, 90% are the same every single day. That's why we don't change as a human being. But anyway, so
Just so you know.
just so you know, you should change a bit more in your
This
way
was
of
the
thinking.
hint.
But when we think about a brand, why is a personal branding working so well? So when we think about Meta or Facebook, we think about Mark Zuckerberg. When we think about Amazon, we think about Jeff Bezos. The best example, although many people hate him, is Elon Musk. Personal branding works because people love people. That's why yesterday even I told you like personal branding should be one way to go, because people love people and people love authenticity. They don't care if you have the best lighting as long as they believe what you say is true. So when it comes to your personal brand, I don't think you need to act premium and everything needs to be perfect. It's about spreading your message, documenting the process, telling also the fuck-ups that happen. Sorry, I don't know if I can tell that, but you can beep it out. So talking about the positive and the negative, which makes it authentic. And when it comes down to your brand profile, then it can be more polished. But then you can also educate people. I'm a big fan of education. So you can educate the ingredients. Like, I don't know what the brand's about, but let's say it's
Education is one of the key values, so yes.
That's amazing,
Yeah.
because people need to understand why. Because when you want to sell something, people have always the same 4 questions, which are, do I trust you as a person? Do I trust your company and the values? Do I trust the product or methods? And the 4th one, many people forget, do I trust myself that I can do it with your products? So you need to tackle all of these 4 questions, and education is a great way in how to do this. So to answer your question in short, I would go for a more polished profile with your company profile, and a more authentic one with your personal, and you should combine it. This is exactly how I do it too.
Yeah, makes sense.
You got your free consulting?
Thank you.
Yeah. Alex.
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
What is behind?
Well, it was an idea which I came up with. Of course, it was back in the days when Obama was a president, and probably you've heard that. Yes, we can.
Yes, of course.
And I lived in the US, and I had like all these followers and a huge reach. And I asked myself, how can I funnel it? And as my name is Khan, and many people say Khan to it, I was coming up with that hashtag, we can. And it was a symbol for my community to use it. I even come up with the website wecan.com, where all the tweets with this little hashtag showed up. And the message or the vision behind it was like, we can inspire each other, we can learn from another, and we can rise together. And I launched this hashtag, and within 3 months, we reached more than 100 million people, which was an amazing result, back on that vision. So that was the whole we can. And then I left it, I moved to Germany. I'm not using English so much anymore.
Any further hashtags coming in the future, or we should brainstorm?
We can brainstorm around it, but it's a very important point. Hashtags are not that important anymore. Many people think too much around hashtags. But these algorithms are very smart. They don't need it. They know what's on the picture. They know what's in the video. They know what you text around. You don't need hashtags anymore. So if you think about strategy, don't think about hashtags so much. Produce more content. Because nowadays, maybe another point we didn't tackle it yet, but it's about how the algorithms work if you want to go for more reach. We are living in a world where we have a big transition right now from a status-based algorithm to a content-based algorithm. This means we lived in a world where the amount of followers equaled the reach you received. So more followers, more reach. Now we are in a content-based algorithm, means like it doesn't matter how many followers you have. If you produce one single piece of content, everyone who listens to this podcast, tomorrow he could come up with an idea, and this piece of content could get more reach, more visibilities than all my content. That's great. It started with TikTok. That's the biggest difference of TikTok to all the other platforms. That's why we call it TikTokification. It's that content-based algorithm. If people actually want to watch, it's the watching time, your content, it can go viral. You can have 10 followers, but 1 million views. And that's amazing. That's an amazing message, because you don't need to build followers anymore. You just have to know how to produce great content.
Yeah, that's why I asked the question, actually, because I have TikTok for 4 weeks now, and I just post like crazy every day. And it's like very relatable content, completely different to my Instagram, because it's just for me easier, because there's not that many people that know me, so I can just, trial and error. And you can tell, like, the better you can, just be yourself and be relatable, but in your own way. Of course, you can jump on trends, but then if you interpret them yourself, you can see it reaches so many people. And like you said, you don't need to have that many followers, but it will just be this ongoing thing, and people will like it and share it and interact with you. You can start having conversations in the comments after, I'm telling you, it's 4 weeks, and it goes like crazy.
It's another great point you just added to this. It's community. I talked about reach so far, about visibility, about brand building. But down the road, and that's one topic we usually forget to talk about, it's that even your amount of followers or amount of likes, it's not just a number. It's a number of human beings.
Absolutely.
And we should build a community around it.
Absolutely.
What do you do when somebody follows you, for example? Right? Do you text him? Do you like back? The biggest, I usually get asked, like also by influencers, I have so great content, why I don't get as many likes as earlier bad days and not so many comments. And my usual response is, how often do you like back? How often do you leave a comment? Because so we are always in this entitlement that
like
we have
me once,
to get
then
it.
I like you back, so I do for you a favor, you give me the favor back, and so forth.
By the way, that's a great approach to gain followers.
You did not like my last post on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I did.
I will not lie. Really?
No, the racism
okay,
post, of
Yes,
course.
yes. Okay, good.
Do you know why it took some time?
I was getting a little bit irritated, but after sometimes, nevertheless,
because you were logged in my laptop, so I had to.
Okay.
Okay, never mind.
Normal,
I actually wanted to say something else now. I have to think about it.
Yeah. Regarding authenticity, we wanted to ask this authenticity and how you can. Sometimes, for example, from time to time, I'm active into posting, and time to time, I'm a little bit slow because I have to do some other things, or I don't feel like posting something. And sometimes you post and you have 5 likes, and sometimes you post and you have, hundreds of likes. You never know, in a way or another. But the authentic part, we were speaking about this, is very important. But since the launch of ChatGPT and AI and in content creation, you are a superstar. And I follow you about the usage and about the usage of AI tools and whatsoever. My question is, what's next? What will happen in the upcoming 5 years?
It's a popular question. When I think about my background and what I've done in the past, I'm not really good in predicting things. That's not what I care about, because you can be right or wrong. What I'm really good at is when something pops up, I'm the first to jump on it. So I can tell you about what I believe to be true right now, and then we can make predictions around it. First of all, let's take this little device. The internet comes closer to us. It started with the desktop, laptop, smartphone, Apple Watch, maybe contact lenses, vision. It comes closer to us. So it will be omnipresent, which of course has a couple of things that you can conclude from it. One will be what will happen with us if we have contact lenses. What will happen to advertisement, for example? If I can choose which brands I want to see and which I don't, then maybe this is the last era of branding right now. So I believe now it's very important to build a community, to become popular for something, to become named for something that people want to watch you, because in the future they might be able to just switch you off and then you have no possibility anymore. The other thing that I see right now is changing. Variations are changing. What I mean, let's take Google for example. because of AI, we are thinking not about SEO, so search engine optimization, a lot lately. We think about GEO, means like generic engine optimization. How can I make JetGPT, when somebody asks, give me the best social media agency, that Attractive Media pops up? Because in the future, I don't want to click on 10 links. It's stupid. I can have just one answer, which is perfect for me. So this will be a huge thing where we think about, like, where do they come the information from? Is it Reddit? Is it social media? Is it internet websites? So what is it? So that will be a huge implication on marketing in the future. On top of it, I still believe that we are human beings, and when it comes down to artificial intelligence, I don't believe that artificial intelligence will replace us. But, and that's a very strong but, people who are using artificial intelligence will. So it's the co-pilot. We need to use it. We need to learn how to use it. We need to go with it because we're going to be more effective and more efficient. So that will be another huge
And we need to be good parents while using it.
Yes.
It's very important.
In a good way and so on. So all of this will definitely affect us. But if it's going to be VR, if it's going to be AR, if it's going to be a new platform, I just don't know.
I cite here an important book by Mo Gaudat. It's called Scary Smart. So actually, whether it's going to be in a very good direction in the future or could be in a direction which is a little bit scary, but this is only a prediction. But nevertheless, thank you for your input in this. This is very valuable. By the end of the day, you said a very important point. We don't have to predict too much, because too much prediction will lead that we are stopping ourselves from developing in a way or another. So we have to follow the track and see what the future simply is going to bring in this regard. But returning to the one of the main, let's say, keywords that we discussed initially, awareness is very important. We have to be aware.
I wanted to add something to that because you just mentioned the hyper-personalization and maybe something like omni-channel. And then what you said is something that I am thinking about so much, also to do actually workshops at uni about media literacy and how to use AI properly to actually prepare the students that we have, but also obviously everyone else, to be this front person, like to be a human, and then everything that you're doing, I always call it like, I don't know, the English word was like Grundrauschen, that you don't need to put any energy into anymore. And this is, I think, the way that you can differentiate yourself, that you actually target people on a personal level, and you kind of make a connection, and like you said, like this community approach. And then also you teach them and you make them, get better at whatever they're doing. And I think AI is such a great tool for that.
It is.
Yeah.
It definitely is.
This is correct, Okay,
right.
So do you want to ask more questions? Because she's always shouting to me after, you did not give me the chance to ask
this time.
So please, do you want to ask more questions before I ask one of my final questions?
No, I wanted to ask because Mo told me so much about this, that you were founding several companies, right? So maybe you can give us some insights on your experience as an entrepreneur and in founding, and then not, like you said, maybe failing and trying it again.
Yeah. Well, I founded some companies. The company I'm still running is very successful. The first company I already mentioned, Facebook came to Germany and dominated all of us, which was quite a hard time for me because I asked myself, which now seems to be very bold, but in 2007, it was not such a bold question. What does Facebook have what I haven't? And the answer, by the way, is attention. It had attention. That's where I learned the valuable lesson of attention, of a US player coming to Germany, of course, with all the resources and so on. So I'm a big fan of free, so maybe give 3 insights, what I learned from entrepreneurship. The first one is a repetition, but I believe repetition is the mother of all learning. So it's really asking yourself, what are you good at? What can you do all day long? Because it's going to be a hard way. And maybe before you even start, ask yourself, maybe being in a company, I believe we put entrepreneurship on a pedestal a lot lately. I know when I was building my website and I said I'm an entrepreneur as a 16-year-old, people thought like I'm just unemployed.
Yeah.
It was not cool back at these days to be an
Don't have a
entrepreneur.
job.
Well,
Don't have a job.
I do experience that though.
Now
Get
people
your
say
fixed contract.
you're an entrepreneur, and they say, "Wow, you're an entrepreneur." I'm also an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But there is a very big difference between an entrepreneur and a successful entrepreneur. So maybe becoming the number 2 or number 10 of another startup is a great way. I believe the 10th employee of Facebook makes more money than 99.9% of the people out there who are entrepreneurs. And we have to imagine that most of the companies fail. It's not that most of the companies who are founded succeed. So that's maybe the first question. Do I have to become an entrepreneur? Second is, what am I really good at? I remember one great founder, he told me once, it's an Iranian friend of my dad, he founded several companies, make billions, and he said like, a very successful entrepreneur from a not successful entrepreneur is divided by 4 steps. And the first step is to have a vision. You have to have a vision. Most people don't have a vision, a clear vision they want to follow. The second step is to think if this vision makes sense, to talk with people around it. Most people stay with their vision and maybe just start without thinking, does that make sense? Is there a market for this? So make your homework. The third step is to come to a decision. Maybe people, many people, they think and they think and they talk to people and they never start. Make a decision, I'm doing it or I'm not doing it. And the fourth one is to really start, to execute on it. And there is no plan B, because plan B will distract you from plan A. That's the thing. So go all in, give yourself time, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, and if it fails, it fails. Better fail fast than fail slowly.
Yeah, because this is torturing a little bit. So so better does not work, and that's
Yeah.
it. Do another thing. Yeah.
And then it's fine.
Yeah.
Then it failed,
Yeah.
it's okay. You will survive. You will be shocked how the world will look after you fail and before. It will be the same world. Maybe not for you, from your thoughts, but it will be the same world for everyone else.
Okay. So we have, am I sure I want to found, or can I go into another startup maybe if I want
That's
to?
the first question you should ask yourself.
And then what am I really good at?
Yeah.
And figuring out the market. And what is number 3?
And number 3 is going through those 4 steps. Have a vision, think about it, decide, and execute.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
as
So,
fast as possible.
You are
go
on
through
track.
those steps.
I have
You
no
are,
questions
you are
anymore.
well set.
The
yeah.
judge is satisfied.
You are safe. All right. So, Alex, the final question. You are in an industry which is very dynamic. Yeah. So, and this is one of the questions that I always like to ask our guests. And of course, if something happening on social media and you and your team, you are not 100% attentive and aware and careful, and then things can go really wrong,
100%.
not like any other industries. Because we asked guests from other industries, one guest said, no, I don't care. When I'm on vacation,
I build houses, people gonna live in
whatsoever.
houses.
It's not my thing. Yeah, so they can call my office. I want to have my private life and whatsoever. In your industry, which is very dynamic, do you shut down? I don't see you. I see you posting when you are in the fitness studio, when you are on vacation, when after your speeches, before your speeching, maybe after our talk today. Is it an industry that you can say, okay, I'm on vacation, bye?
It's a very interesting thought. You should talk to my girlfriend around it. But
I know
to be honest, I'm not posting that much lately. And lately, I mean for the last 18 months, maybe 24 months. I'm not posting from the gym anymore. I'm not posting from vacations. I'm also believing that if you're an influencer, then your product is you. People are interested in you. You have to share everything because that's how you build your rapport. If you're in the education space, people come to you because of education, because of the value of the education. They might be interested in your personal life, but we always try to mix entertainment and education. I don't believe this is a good idea, because people love to be entertained, they love entertaining content. People who love to be educated, they go for education content. So I'm focusing solely on education content. And that's great. And I think everyone who starts as a personal brand should ask themselves, what do I want to share? And how far do I want to go? Do I want to show my partner? Do I want to show my home? Do I want to show my car, my travel, my kids? Yes or no? And stick with it. Because it comes like a little devil. It opens up doors. And if you don't know when to say no, it will just get you fully and it will distract you from work, first of all.
Did you pass by this?
Yeah, definitely. I absolutely know. When you take a look at my, besides my mom, you don't see anything of my life. You've never seen, for the last 12, 14, 20 months, me in the gym. You don't
I
see
saw
my
you all the
car.
time in the gym and on
Yeah,
vacation.
that was
some time ago.
That was some time ago, yeah. Also on LinkedIn and so on.
Yeah.
It's all related to marketing. It might be that I show my team. It might be that I show a birthday or something like this. But most of it, I don't do it. But that's just me. Everyone should make their own
So you can
decisions.
shut down.
I can shut down. Well, I don't shut down business-wise. I love what I do. For some people, they love to go to the Hamptons. Some people love to go to Malibu Beach. I just love to work. It's like what I want. It's
Just
what
make 3 of us.
it's what I love to do. My girlfriend sometimes
Bingo.
comes to me and says like, you have to make holidays.
Yeah,
It's so
yes,
important
yes.
for you.
Hi.
And I said, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I relax when I work.
Yeah.
I just love that. And I did a LinkedIn post around. I said, like, is something wrong with me? I just love what I do.
I
No,
always
it
have
gives you
this
purpose.
discussion with the colleagues
Yeah.
as well, with business partners that no more you have to stop and stopping and I simply, as you said, I can't. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
this group of friends could be as well, but I can't. Yeah, No.
I mean, we talked about it before, so I think there's always the little things that you can share that you don't have to work, or I don't know, maybe it helps when you have a partner that can meet you on a certain level, because I think people are the way they are, and when you do something and like you are very passionate about it and you just love doing it, why would your partner stop you? Love, that's like
Correct.
one thing that you can take away from a relationship.
Correct.
So-
Yeah.
You do you.
You
Yeah.
are the person
And
cooking
both
about
is fine.
relationship again.
Yeah, definitely. You
Yeah.
should be more open about it and say like, that's what I love to do.
Mm.
I don't ask you to work, right? But you should not ask me to stop working
Yes.
because you think it's better for me.
Yeah, because everyone's different.
Absolutely.
right?
Everybody's
correct.
different.
Yeah.
And if you don't like to work, if you like 9 to 5, that's fine too. I
Yes.
think we should stop judging each other with the opinions we have on each other. Everyone is different, and that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
That's the
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
an
yeah. amazing
ending of this talk.
Everyone is different. Yeah.
Everyone's different.
So-
Everyone's great.
Alex, thank you for honoring us, of course, in the German Titans. You are an addition, and I believe for the audience as well. Please feel free to follow Alex. You will learn a lot. I learned personally a lot, and this is a personal advice. A great overall friend. Yeah. Every time I learn something new, so you give your insights all the time. You are always there. If again, me, my friends, network, students need anything, so thank you very much for being there for us and for enriching our knowledge all the time about digital marketing and social media. Yeah. So
Yes.
Nana.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. It's my first time meeting Alex, so I have a few
Not the
more
last
questions now that we start the podcast.
Not the last time.
No, it was very insightful.
Thank you.
I learned a lot and I
Also,
enjoyed it.
thanks to the effort behind the camera. So TomTom is saying
Yeah,
hi
Tom
again.
Tom.
Okay.
Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you.
Thanks for
Yeah.
being a friend. Thanks for the great question, and thanks for the great support.